Azel is cool, but I can't say he makes a good first impression. Just off the bat, he's a 5-move unit, an attribute which a character was just made fun of for having. Outside of the mechanical, his sprite looks fairly wimpy, and in his introduction, the one thing we learn about his character is that he has a crush on Nadine. Seems to be a bit of a trend. The only thing he really has going for him in terms of impressions is that he one-rounds the first enemy he comes across. But that doesn't mean his combat is all that great. He's still a squishy mage boy. He's obviously outpaced if you're moving fast, but even if you're playing slow and casually, he doesn't stand out. Compared to the other foot combat units, Azel is really basic. Ira's got Astra, Jamka's got the bow spam setup, Holland's got Luna, Lewin gets Forseti, Bridget gets Ufel, and even his fellow Granbell mage, Tilchu, has Wrath. Everyone else has got something. Well, except Arden. So that's where Azel sits. Next to Arden. Not a good look. But of course, unlike all those others who are footlocked, Azel can promote out of it. In that regard, he shouldn't be lumped in at the bottom with them, but instead right next to Lachesis. Admittedly, Master Knight is better than Mage Knight, but compared to the absurdity of Master Knight, anything looks weak. In reality, Mage Knight is a perfectly excellent class. At level 20, Azel should have great magic and speed. If we do want to compare him to Lachesis, offensively he holds up, being your best mounted 1-2 ranged character by far, which can come in handy. It's really only defensively where he stumbles, still retaining some of that magical frailty, so a bit glass cannon leaning, but still a useful unit. But there's one other aspect of Lachesis that actually puts her above Azel. She's far easier to train. You can get her to Master Knight quickly without even really slowing down with the right planning, thanks to staff spamming. For Azel, there's no shortcuts. He's got to fight his way to promotion. And when you're lagging behind the battle, don't have enough bulk to take on many enemies in a turn, and get stuck where you attack, all that comes together in a deadly combination, which means you either get stuck not using all your already low movement, or put yourself in a dangerous situation whenever you try to squeeze out some EXP. He's still better than the footlocked units, but he also sits below the already mounted in Lachesis. So if I've mostly been ragging on him, why do I like Azel? The thing is, Lachesis' journey from a weak unit to a strong one doesn't really sit right with me from a character perspective. It's not dissonant with what we see, but Lachesis from the start seems like a fairly strong-willed character, that I guess just lacks in the physical prowess department. Suddenly flipping that to a statistical monster is kinda weird. The peak of her character comes in the chapter after she joins with her pep talk to Eldigan, and for most players, she likely isn't promoted by that point. There's no justification for why she in particular gets so much from promotion, and it has no ties to her character. Azel, as I said earlier, is in his first moments portrayed as kind of weak, with a seemingly childish crush being teased by his more capable companion, who quickly leaves him in the dust to go off and join the core Knight Squad. Let's talk about Lex for a moment. Combat-wise, he fills a similar role to Quan, a bulky unit that, while hitting hard, lacks pursuit and thus rarely one-rounds enemies. But before he gets there, he's immediately useful, able to soak up hits that Azel can't, and he can continue to do that with the rest of the front line. Thanks to Paragon, he's also very easy to train, and will likely gain a stat advantage over your other mounted units until they can catch up at high levels. Lex acts as a perfect mechanical foil to Azel. Azel is seemingly impotent in comparison, and training him is challenging, but we can see that hint that he can be something more in that first combat, one-rounding an enemy that Lex can't. This mechanical storytelling meshes with what we're shown, and then can build on it. In the story, Azel is kind of an outsider. There's plenty of other Granbell nobles, even those whose relatives are enemies, but for Lex and Tilchu, there's a clear animosity towards their parents. Azel's relationship with Arvis is far more complicated, and it's clear he still cares for his brother to some extent. He's caught between the two sides, even more so than Lex and Tilchu. On top of that, he's a bastard. In text. Lex might be one, but as far as I know it's not even said in-game that he and Danon have different mothers. This is for the obvious reason that Azel can't have Loptier blood, but it has the consequence that he's not quite as noble as his peers. But he still has holy blood, and thus is more noble than the knights. He's stuck in the middle, both mechanically and narratively. These parallels connect these ideas, and as such, we can see Azel promoting as not only him going from a weak unit to a strong one, but also from a character that's stuck between two sides to one that knows where he belongs, fighting alongside his friends and for a cause he believes in. He's finally able to join Lex and become a partner that can keep up with, and in many ways outpace him, as well as stepping out of the shadow of his older brother. That's why I really like Azel. More so than other early joining weak characters throughout Fire Emblem, he's both mechanically and narratively satisfying to train. It tells a story, one told entirely at the player's hands, and it only happens if the player trains Azel. If you don't, he'll always be stuck there, next to Arden. So maybe give him a chance the next time you play the game. You may not be surprised, but you'll probably be satisfied. Ira's got Astra, Jamka's got the bow spam setup, Lewin's got Holland.